Okay, so this is a short video recorded by Dr. Shan to show you how to construct attribute control charts in Minitab. So first, let's open the data file, which is attribute chart data available on the Blackboard. So let's first take a look at column 3 to 5. We will use this data to construct P chart and NP chart. So column 3 shows the subgroup ID. So we have 20 subgroups. And then column 4 shows the size of each subgroup. So we have 500 for each of the subgroup. And then column 5 shows number of defect. So out of this 500 units or products or service, so we have 20 defective. 20 units are defective. Okay. So each of the 500 units will be classified either as defective or not defective. Okay, so let's see how we constructed the P chart first. So if you go to Stat, Control Chart, Attribute Chart, P chart. Okay, so the pop-up windows ask you for the variables. So we will focus on the first 3 rows from corresponding to column 3 to column 5. Now, here we will put in the variable, we'll put in NP. Okay, so column 5. Now, because Minitab will need the value of N and also P in order to calculate the P chart. Okay, and then for the subgroup size, you can either enter 500 or you could select column 4. Okay, and then you hit OK. Okay, so we can see this is the P chart. Okay. Now we can follow the very similar procedure to construct NP chart. So go to Attribute, Charts, and NP. Okay. So for the variable, again, we select NP, and for the subgroup size, we choose N, and we hit OK. Now, if we compare P chart and NP chart side by side, you can see they are almost very similar, except the scale, right? So in the P chart we have P bar as the central line, while the NP chart we have NP bar. Okay. Now let's see how can we construct a C chart. So C chart is that we count the number of defects or errors or non-conformities. Okay, and the subgroup size is 1. So we only look at one item. It could be one invoice. So how many errors are in one invoice, for example? So this data is in column 7 and column 8. Now let's see how to construct the C chart. Go to Stat, Control Chart, Attribute Chart, and C chart. Okay. So now first we select the variable, which is C, and that's it. And hit OK. Okay. So it shows us the C chart. So we can see that 0.6 is out of control. The Minitab also shows in red. Okay, so we have to investigate what happened at that time. Okay. Now let's take a look at how to construct a U chart. So we can take a look at column 11 to column 13. So we can see again, column 11 is the ID of the subgroup. We have 20 subgroup. And column 12 N1 is the size of each subgroup. So we have 400. And then column 13 is again number of error. However, the difference between the U chart and the C chart is in the C chart the size of each subgroup is 1, while here we have 400. So it's multiple items in one of the each subgroups. So, and within this 400 units, we found 12 errors or defects. Notice that this doesn't mean that there are 12 items that are defective. Okay, that's different. That's the 12 errors could come from one item. So for example, out of this 400 items, there is only one item have error, and the number of error is 12. Okay. Now let's see how to construct the U chart. Again, go to Stat, Control Chart, Attribute Chart, U chart. Okay. For the variable, we select the N1, and for the subgroup size, we choose N1, and we hit OK. Okay, so we can see the subgroup 16 is out of control, so we need to further investigate that. Okay, now let's take a look at the the P chart, but with varied sample size. Okay, so if you compare column C15 to C17 with column C3 to C5, both of them are data for P chart, but in the first case, in the earlier case, in column 4, we can see the sample size is identical, 500, while in the hospital example, we can see the sample size varies. Okay, so you go to Stat, you go to Control Chart, you go to Attribute Chart, you can go to P chart, same procedure. For the variable, we will choose dissatisfied patients, and for subgroup size, we will choose sample size. Okay, and hit OK. So we can see now the control limits, they also changes because the sample size is different. Okay, while the central line is still in the center, right? And in this case, we can see subgroup 12 and subgroup 19, they are out of control. So we need to further investigate that. Now, finally, let's take a look at. Okay, so before we talk about the variable size U chart, so first I want to talk about the dissatisfied patient. That means out of this 549 patients, there are 10 they are non-satisfied. Okay, so again, you classify each of the 549 patient either as satisfied or dissatisfied. On the other hand, if you look at the U chart with variable sample size, again, column 20 indicate the sample size. So in subgroup 1, we have 85 in, for example, parking slips. And then out of this 85 parking slips, we found 15 errors. Again, the 15 error could come from one parking slip, come from two parking slip, or come from any number less than 15, right? So you can see the difference between the U chart and the P chart. Okay, so now let's see how can we construct the U chart. It's the same as the one without with constant sample size. We go to Control Chart, Attribute Chart, U chart. So for variable, we will have arrows, and for the subgroup size, we will have parking slip. Okay, then we hit OK. So we can see this is our U chart with very varied sample size, and you can see the control limits, they also varies for each of the subgroups. We can see subgroup 3 is out of control, so we need to further investigate that. So that's the end of the video, and also I provide some screenshot during the voice recorded presentation. Thank you.